Hi there. I just wanted to put this video out here for everyone who is ready to close down their Google Classroom, have a summer shutdown, and just some quick tips on how to do it in the fastest, simplest way, but still have it be the most effective way so that you don't have any issues with students doing anything with work after school is over. So the first thing that I'm going to do from my landing page where my class cards are is I'm going to create a new classroom. And this one is going to be called Summer Work. And then I'm just going to put in the section and I'm going to call it Summer of 2020. I'm going to click Create. And from a student point of view, my name will also be on this card when they're looking at their Google Classroom. So if they have 4 or 5 teachers who have created a summer classroom, they'll know which one is which. Once I get into my new classroom, I will do my usual changing my settings. For the summer, I might want to change it so that students can comment to anything that I post. Have a little conversation going over the summer. I probably don't want to have them have the ability to post and comment because if I'm not looking at this every day, we don't know what kind of conversations will be going on and you'll be coming in after the fact. Or you can change it to only teachers can post or comment. But for this one, I'll put in that students can comment. I also don't need anything showing up on the stream because that makes it very cluttered. Again, I don't care about seeing my deleted options. I may want to have a Google Meet over the summer, but until I'm ready to actually set one up, I'm not even going to turn on the link. It won't hurt anything if you do, but it's not useful until you're actually ready to have a meet. You could turn it on for yourself and then put an announcement in the stream so that your students know that on such and such a date, you're going to have a summer check-in, see how everybody's doing, just to catch up a little. So that's totally up to you. Your summer classroom is a lot more flexible than what you might do with a regular classroom. And then I'm going to just save it. The only thing I need from here is my class code. So I can go here and double click on it, right click, copy. So now I have my class code for my summer work classroom. And I'm going to go back into my main classes and I'm going to use my practice classroom and I'm going into classwork and I'm going to create an assignment because I want to keep track of this. And this is called Sign Up for Summer Work 2020. And if you have seen some of these emojis that people are putting into their classrooms, you could put a little sunshine there. I happen to have the emoji keyboard by Joy Pixels on my Google extensions, and I can just type in sun and put a little picture of the sun there, just for a little bit of jazzing it up. And for right now, you could just make it ungraded. If your students are still not used to clicking on the mark as done, you can remind them. So once you have this written up, you'll just paste in that class code so that they have it, make it ungraded, give them a due date, tell them you'd like to have that done by the end of the school year. Because the longer you give them to join that summer class, the longer you're going to either need your classes open for them to find the class code, or you're going to have to keep sending emails until they join it. And then your topic can be summer work. And then you can assign that right away, or you can save it as a draft and come back to it. Once you have that made, you can click this topic and drag it up to the top so it's the very first one. And you can copy this over. Let's say that you wanted to put this post in all of your classrooms so that no matter which classroom they look at, they're going to see that one there. So now you have that here. And unless you have some items like I do that don't belong to a specific topic, this summer work, you can drag it up to make it the first item that they're going to see. They will click it, and then you can keep track of how many students have said at least that they have joined the class. And then of course you can look at the classwork, summer classwork page. and you can see which students are in that class. Now, why did we go through all that trouble? Here's an excellent answer. If you do not go in here to your classes and start archiving these, your students will still be able to see them and interact with those assignments all summer long. So they can go in and start doing assignments they never did. They could go in and unsubmit assignments that they did and then resubmit additional copies. All of which is going to make a mess in your classroom folder in your Google Drive, and you don't need any of that. So what you want to make sure is that when you have finished organizing, you have that classroom, and you can always bring it back if you need to. You just click restore from down in your archive, okay? And then you just go back and it'll be there again. Now, after you make your summer work Google Classroom, and then you put the class code in one or more of your Google Classrooms, and you can have a different summer work folder for each class. You can do this two different ways. You can have a different summer work folder, or Google Classroom rather, for each group of students that you teach, or you can just have one, and then under topics you might have 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade as your topics, and then put their summer work there. The only problem with that is, unless you go through and individually assign that to each group of students specifically, then any student in your classroom will be able to see that. So I would make one summer work 6th grade, summer work 7th grade, summer work 8th grade, if that's who you have. Now, if you just have one group of students because you are in kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, maybe 4th and 5th grades, then you just need the one. But for each group of students, you certainly don't need one for each subject or for the summer, but for each group of students. And then under your topics, you can have things like math, you can have reading, you might have fun activities, things like that. So that's what you want to do. Make your summer work Google Classroom. So that was step 1. Step 2, and this is so easy. If you click on this classroom menu bar up in the top left-hand corner, and you click on To Do. If you've never clicked this before, this is wonderful. Click on To Do. This will show you every assignment that you have in each of your classes. Now, if this is a little overwhelming and you want to go class by class, you can click on the drop down and pick which class you want to do. But from here you can see, okay, I have 0 turned in, nothing for me to grade, and I can just go down here and see that I have 0 turned in, so I have nothing to grade. But I do have a lot of outstanding assignments. So I might want to say, okay, no one has done this assignment. I might want to remind them to do it. Or I might want to come in and remove it. But as far as the ones that are assigned, that some of the kids have done and some have not, this will give you a good idea who you're still waiting for. And here, for example, I have one that's turned in. It doesn't say graded, so I would want to click right there on that one. I can look at it, I can grade it, and since this was the only one, I can just click return, close that tab, and then I can go just click the back arrow and go back to my to-do list. And since it's still showing up graded, I can just click refresh, and when I scroll down, that was under musical, you can see that it's graded. If I had waited, it probably would have changed on its own, but I wanted to refresh it so I could continue going down. And here you have another one that was turned in that wasn't graded, and another one. So that's how you would go in and find it the fastest way, and then just go, you know, if you know that everything's done in one particular class, or there's only one class where you have anybody with anything outstanding, just pick that one class and then go through it class by class. I can look at my demo class and see what's outstanding, and here's one that I can grade. And why is this important? Because just like when your students physically hand in a paper to you, you own that paper till you give it back to them. Google Classroom works the same way. Once your students do an activity and they submit that to you, they are almost physically handing it to you, and now you own that document. They can't go in and edit it unless they unsubmit it. which is like them taking it back off your desk or back out of your hands. So you want to return ownership of that document to them. So you want to turn that in so they have their grade, so that they own that document again, and it becomes part of their portfolio. So now we've made our summer work folder. We've made the homework assignment in our regular classes so that students will go join that summer work Google Classroom. And let's pretend that everybody did. It's been a week or two, and I had them immediately join the summer work, and everybody's there except maybe one or two stragglers that I'll just shoot an email to their parents and say, this is how you'll see your summer work this year, for the people that you don't need to actually make a paper packet for. And then you will just go into each one of these classrooms, click these 3 buttons in the top right hand corner, and click Archive. It'll say, are you sure? And you just say, I am. And then eventually what you'll have here will only be your summer work and any classrooms in which you are a student, and possibly your practice classroom that has the fake students in it, so that you can continue to fiddle with it over the summer. Those are the things that you really need to do so that students don't go in and they're accessing old activities. You want to get those old activities out of their reach. Once it's archived, you can always access those materials again by clicking Create and Reuse Post. Students cannot access your activity, only their own work, the same way they would if they had taken home physical copies of your tests or assignments and activities and projects. What you can start doing now, you might notice that on my desktop I have a classroom template. So you can make that a couple different ways. You can start it from scratch and just go up and create a new classroom, make a template, put in a very general template, so that at the beginning of the year or over the summer when you're ready to make your classes, you can actually come in and click these 3 dots and copy that template. So maybe you have certain announcements, certain materials, certain resources that will be in all of your Google Classrooms. Okay, no matter if it's math, reading, science, whatever you're teaching, or it doesn't matter if it's 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, 9 through 12, whatever group of kids you have, every classroom, maybe you have certain materials that are going to be in all of them. You make this classroom template, put all those materials in there, and you do it the easy way. You click Create, Reuse, Post. You put them on your classwork page, and then you can go back here to your template and you just copy, and this will say copy of classroom template. No, this is going to be my math for 6th grade, and now I say copy. So that is making everything except my roster, so it doesn't copy any students and it doesn't copy my announcements, because those are pretty specific when you go by your announcements. Here I have my math 6th grade classroom, and then I can go in and I can change it any way that I want to make it specific. But I could actually go through, maybe I have 6 or 7 classrooms, again, with the same basic information. I just copy this template over and over again. So another way to make a template would be to take a class before you archive it. So let me use my demo class. And let's say that I'm going to do another class just like this. Maybe this is my math class for 6th grade or 7th grade. We'll say it's 7th grade. And I want all of the assignments in the same order with all the topics. I want to follow exactly. I want to have basically my lesson plan from this past year to start out, so I don't have to go in and reuse post, reuse post, reuse post. I can copy all that over. So let's look at my demo class the way it is. Here's a bunch of kind of loose assignments and then some topics based on the date, based on the subject. Okay, a lot of different topics. So we'll go back here. So now I'll click those 3 dots and I'll click copy, and I can change the name here. And let's say that this is going to be my math 7th grade for next year. Change the year. And if you've used reuse post, you've seen how important having that year right underneath the title of your class. And then I just click copy. Okay, so now I can see right up here at the top is my math 7th grade. So for a little while it'll say creating class, but once it stops you can see that the class is accessible. So now I'm going to click on it, and again, none of my announcements are here. I'm going to go to my classwork page, and all of those activities that I did last year are here saved as drafts. That way, if I want to do anything different, I could go in here, maybe this fact family activity. I'm going to edit it. Maybe I decided I didn't want to use that this year. I can just delete it. If I decide I do want to use it, not only can I go in here, I can edit it and I can make any changes that I want. So anything I've attached to it is still going to be there. How I set it up, all my instructions, everything's going to stay there, just like as if I had reused the post. But I didn't have to do that. I just made a copy and I have everything all set up. Maybe my topics were week 1, week 2, week 3, or maybe I put the dates in. So I'll just go back and I'll just edit the dates on the topics. But at least they're all in order and the assignments that went with each topic are where they belong. So this is even easier than going into reuse post. I have the option. I want to check all of my optionals. And this one, maybe I want a copy for each student. And then I can go in here and change the point value, make a due date. If I decide I want to change the topic, I can do that because that was the date that we did it. So maybe I'm going to change the name of the topic. Again, I go through it and I can save it as a draft or I can schedule it. In this case, I'm just going to X out of it. But I just wanted you to see what it looks like when you copy an entire class. And you can see all of your topics down here and go to each one and look at all of the assignments that went with that topic and do any editing from here as well. So everything is saved as a draft. And again, there's nothing here because announcements are very specific. Go into my settings. I want to double check because those have returned. So I want to go in and make sure that only teachers can post and comment. And I want to hide the notifications so the settings don't save. I can generate my new Google Meet link, save my settings, and I can do this at any point. Maybe I'm not really ready to make my classes for next year, or maybe that's exactly what I want to do. Maybe before I archive them, I want to make a copy, and you can see here that my demo class had 10 students and this one has 0 because it does not bring the students over. So that's very nice. You don't have to worry about anybody seeing it. So maybe before you archive each class, maybe you'll want to make a copy of it for the fall. And then you have all the lessons that you did this year already ready for you to go in, tweak them, edit them as you need them, get a new due date, see if you want to use them at all, see if you have new resources. But that's a lot easier than trying to remember from year to year or looking back at your archived class to find out what you did in which marking period or what support materials you used. You don't even have to go in to look at that. So I hope that you have found this explanation of why you want to archive your classes to be helpful and how you can have a class just for your kids to have their summer work and access to any of the materials that you wanted them to have from the regular classrooms available to them in the summer, as well as 2 different ways to make a template for your classes for the fall. I hope you have a fantastic summer and get lots of rest and enjoy yourself.